Welcome to today's CS Talk. In our CS Talk series dealing with the responsibilities of key players in clinical trials, we have spoken about the responsibilities of the CA, the EC, the PI, and the study coordinator. In this video, we shall be talking about other staff at the trial sites who play major roles in the successful conduct of clinical trials. Today, we will discuss in brief the roles and responsibilities of the pharmacy. As a short recap, in our previous video on the responsibilities of the principal investigator, we mentioned that as per ICH-GCP guidelines, the principal investigator may delegate some or all of the duties for investigational product management to an appropriate individual like the study coordinator or study nurses who are under the supervision of the PI himself, or the PI may elect to delegate these responsibilities to a qualified site-associated pharmacy. Now we will focus on the role of the pharmacy in the case that a pharmacy is involved in a trial. What are the qualifications and training requirements for pharmacy staff? The pharmacy head and the team must be qualified by training. When planning trials, the sponsor should ensure that sufficient safety and efficacy data from preclinical studies and/or clinical trials are available to support human exposure by the route, at the dosages, for the duration, and in the trial population to be studied. The pharmacy team must be trained on project specificities by a sponsor-assigned individual before a trial commences at a given site. This is usually a clinical research associate. The PI, however, may also conduct this training on some cases. Whenever the sponsor updates the investigator's brochure with significant new information, these updates must also be communicated to the pharmacy team. Now, how is the pharmacy involved in a clinical trial and why? Clinical trial drugs need to be securely managed, and a detailed account pertaining to their storage, dispensation, return, and destruction must be maintained at all times. It is important to note that even if the IP is stored at a site-associated pharmacy, there is always a strong coordination between the pharmacy staff and the site staff, or the study coordinator, who is the person who actually on a regular basis sees the study subjects and explains the correct use of the investigational products to each subject and checks at appropriate intervals that each subject is following the instructions for use as stipulated by the protocol. Whenever a pharmacy is involved in a trial, the pharmacy becomes responsible for the following. 1. Inventory. IP receipt. The pharmacy should maintain records of the product's delivery to the trial site, and the pharmacy should perform inventory on the following: what was received and the quantity received, when IP was received, condition of the IP upon arrival at the site, Of course, the pharmacy should perform temperature control as applicable and detailed in the pharmacy manual. The pharmacy also is responsible for completing drug receipt form as required by the study in question. Second, IP storage. Clinical trial drugs are stored separately from standard medicines given to in-house patients, and the temperatures in which they are stored are closely monitored. Clinical trial drugs are usually yet to be approved drugs, and even though much is known with regards to their properties as compared to already approved drugs with years of post-marketing authorization information. The investigational products should be stored as specified in the protocol and the IB following applicable regulatory requirements. Third, IP dispensation. The pharmacy manages IP dispensation to each subject. The pharmacy also maintains records of IP that were used and those returned by the subjects. When clinical trial medication is dispensed, extra accountability records are to be completed, detailing what drug is given and to which patient. It is expected and mandated that a trial be conducted in a transparent way, and all records must clearly indicate what occurred, ensuring that at any time, even say 20 years after study has ended, it could be understood what had happened during the trial. Investigators should maintain records that adequately document that the subjects were provided the doses specified by the protocol and reconcile all investigational product received from the sponsor. The principal investigator, and indeed all study personnel, and as we have said in the past, this includes the study nurses, the study coordinator, and if a radiologist is involved in the trial, this would also be the radiologist. Every site staff or site associated staff should ensure that the investigational products are used only in accordance with the approved protocol. IP relabeling. Relabeling of clinical trial drugs may become necessary during a trial. For instance, if the expiring date has elapsed but the drug has been shown to be stable without changes to its properties long after the expiring date that was initially provided. In this case, the sponsor may instruct the pharmacy to relabel the drugs following sponsor's SOP and applicable national and local guidelines. Here, extra precautions as related to drug packaging or relabeling may be required in order to maintain blinding. Now, blinding is a procedure in which one or more parties in a trial are kept unaware of the treatment arms participants have been assigned to. That is, which treatment was received in order to avoid bias. Thus, blinding is also to provide protection against conscious or unconscious bias in the design and conduct of a clinical trial. IP return and destruction. The pharmacy is responsible for the return of unused products, of course, to the sponsor, or alternatively, they are also responsible for disposition and destruction of unused products on site. The pharmacy must diligently record the dates, quantities, badge and serial numbers, expiring dates if applicable, and the unique code numbers assigned to the investigational products and trial subjects. At this point, we are going to tell you a little about our experiences with pharmacy staff. Throughout our monitoring and for all the pharmacies that we have worked with, I would say the pharmacy is always well equipped, at least to the experience that we have made. They have also been well organized and always had the necessary resources needed for the successful management of the investigational products. Since most pharmacies are not located at the same address as the PIs or the site, please always ensure you are separately confirming pharmacy's availability as well when you plan your visit to the site, be it pre-selection visit, initiation visit, a normal regular visit, or a closeout visit. Continually train and notify the pharmacy of updates on IP safety. Be familiar with SOPs of the pharmacies. Be sure to check and collect calibration certificates while visiting the pharmacy. In conclusion, thank you very much for listening to us. Please subscribe below so that you are immediately notified of new videos. Watch out for our next video in this series, where we will be talking about the roles of the sponsor and monitors in, of course, in the subsequent videos. Many thanks and bye for now.